morning, children. So, yesterday we have studied topic related to the social science, the first unit for the 8th standard, that is sources. So, in the sources, we have studied some divisions. So, the sources are divided into some parts. So, on that, we have studied the division of the sources. So, sources are divided into two parts. One is the literary sources and second one is the archaeological sources. In the last class, we have studied about the literary sources. In the literary sources, we have studied the written and the oral sources. But in the today's class, we are going to study the topic related to the second division, that is archaeological sources. So, archaeological sources is the one of the important part for the writing of the history. So, without archaeological sources, we are not going to write the history related to the kingdom, history related to the one of the king, history related to a particular place. So, these we are going to get the sources available on the earth. So, archaeological sources are available not only on the earth, but sometimes we have to be get from the deep of the depth of the earth. By digging the land, we are going to find some evidences. After getting these evidences, the historians going to write the history related to the particular event. So that is called as the archaeological sources. So in the archaeological sources, the archaeologists, they are going to get one of the important part, that is the excavation. Excavation is the becoming one of the important part which gives the idea, the event or the evidences related to the particular trade, related to the particular king. So what is the meaning of excavation here? The excavation means the hidden things in the earth dug out of by using a scientific method is called as the excavation. So it means the hidden things. The archaeologists, they are going to search in the depth of the land. After digging the land, they are going to take some points, and with the scientific method, they are going to know the particular period related to the king or the kingdom. That itself is going to call as the excavation. So I will tell you the example related to the excavation. We have completed in India related to the Harappan inscriptions or the Harappan civilization. After following the method of excavation only, we got the idea related to the Harappan civilization. So, many types of things we are going to get from the earth when the archaeologists are going to search from the digging of the land. So, what kind of things we are getting from the part of excavation? There we are finding the ruins of buildings, inscriptions, coins, terracotta pieces, bangles, so seals, beads, and some pieces related to the metal we are getting from the depth of the earth. And by getting these metals or these instruments, we are going to find which type of metal related to the which period. This work is done by the archaeologist, and then after getting the idea from the archaeologist, the historians are going to write the history. So the next point in the archaeological sources, the archaeological sources are divided into 4 categories. How many categories? There are 4 categories we are going to see in the archaeological sources. The first one, inscriptions. Second one, coins. Third one, monuments. And fourth one is the other ruins. So, after getting the knowledge related to the excavation, we are going to divide the archaeological sources into the four divisions. Among that, first inscriptions. So, what is the meaning of inscriptions now? What is the meaning of inscription? So, inscriptions means some engraved writings. So the meaning of inscriptions is engraved writings. So many times we are going to see some printing work done on the stones. The printing work done on the metals, and we are getting from a historical place. That kind of engraved things is going to call as the inscriptions. You can take the example of many types of examples we are getting related to the inscriptions. So, in India, we are seeing the first inscriptions we are getting for the history of Ashoka. So, in the Ashokan periods, we are going to find a lot of inscriptions were engraved by the many inscriptors, and this script was written on the basis of the history related to the Ashokan period. So those things we are going to get in the history of India. So these may be written not in the particular languages. So these are written in the different languages. So at the time of Ashoka, we are going to see the inscriptions we written. Most of the inscriptions written in the Prakrit language. So this we are going to see in the Ashokan period. But rather than this, we know that the most of the script were written in the Brahmi language. Brahmi script, we can say Brahmi script. So these were written at the period of Ashoka. Later days, we are going to see in the history. So other inscriptions are there related to the different kings who are ruling in India. It may be the southern part of India, it may be the northern part of India, and many visitors visited, many ambassadors visited over the India, and that time we are going to see that different types of inscriptions are present in India. Thousands of inscriptions we are going to see in the language of Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Sanskrit, and the last one is the Prakrit language. These inscriptions may be written on the stone, may be written on the pillars, may be written on the temples, or may be written on the any metal. But totally these inscriptions giving the details related to the kingdom, giving the details related to the kings. So you can take the example of Immadi Pulukesis that we are going to see in the Ayodhya. Immadi Pulukesis inscriptions we are going to see in the Ayodhya, and Karavelas Hathigumpa inscriptions and inscriptions 40, the military achievements of the rulers. These rulers, what they have done work, all the details we are going to see on the inscriptions. You can take the one of the figure I am going to draw related to the how the inscriptions are going to write. You can see in your book also. The example is given related to the inscriptions. So that time in a different languages, like this way, on the stone, something is written on the stone. So this writing itself is going to call as the inscriptions. So it may be related for the Ashoka, it may be related for the Gupta, it may be related to the Harshavardhana, it may be related to the Pulakesi, but totally the inscriptions which are written on these stones or the pillars gives the idea related to the particular king or the kingdom. So many types of examples we can see in Karnataka also. So now only I told. You can go toward the Ayavali, there we are going to see the inscriptions related to the Pulakesi second. That is going to call the, and we go toward the Allahabad, there we are finding the inscriptions related to the Samudragupta. So one example we can take from the South India, there we are finding the Pulakesi inscriptions. Go toward the north side, there we are finding the Samudragupta's inscriptions in the Allahabad region. So, totally it means what the written points we are going to see on the stones related to the particular thing is called as the inscriptions. Now, I think you maybe got the idea related to the inscriptions. So, the second point is, first one we have studied the point related to the inscriptions, and second in the archaeological sources. This is also very important, which gives the idea related to the kingdom, king, place, according to the picture printed on that coins. So the second one is the coins. So coins, we know already the different coins we are going to see in the present day also. Different types of notes, and the different notes we are going to see the different types of figures are printed on this note. So in this topic we are going to study the point related to the coins which were made by some different metals. But at the time of ancient, at the time of Middle Age, at the time of modern age, there also we have seen the development of new coins by the different kings to give, and these coins will give the idea to understand the particular geographical exploration made by the different kings. This gives the geographical extent of the ruler. You can take the example of one of the king who is going to rule in the southern part of India. That time, if he is ruling this part, after getting the idea from the coins, so you can take the example of this type of coin. So some figure is there in this coin. You can take the example of figure of Karnataka. So like this way, the kings are going to put some prints on those coins related to the particular period. So according to these coins only, the historians are going to get the knowledge related to the particular extension of the geographical area of that particular ruler. So it may be minted in the different languages according to the ruler. You can take the example of at the period of Harshavardhana may be minted a different one. At the time of Samudragupta may be minted different coins. At the time of some other kings, they may be going to mint it in the different languages, but totally these coins are going to give the idea related to the extension of the geographical period of particular ruler. So here, after knowing these coins, we may be going to get the title of the kings. After knowing the coins, we may be going to get the idea related to the particular religion followed in this period. We may be going to find the economic condition of that particular period. We may be going to find the particular king has ruled in a particular year by knowing the figure given on the coin. So these all things we are going to see by the help of coins. So I will tell you the example related to the Indian history. There, so one of the king has made changes and minted the coins. So you can take the example of Samudragupta. So in the period of Samudragupta, he have minted a different 7 types of coins, that to the gold coins. Which type of coins he has minted? He has minted the different types of 7 coins with the help of the metal gold. And in these different coins, he has given the different types of pictures related to the different activity followed in the period of Samudragupta. So see here, first he minted how many coins? Different 7 types of coins, and each coin showing the different events. Each coin showing the different events completed at the period of Samudragupta was ruling in particular area. So I will give you the example. So what kind of pictures? You can take the example of this Samudragupta. This Samudragupta was very lover of music. He was a lover of music. So he has minted the picture related to the music. So by knowing the picture of that music, we may be going to get, or a historian going to get the idea he was a too much lover toward the music. See here, because Samudragupta is called as a lover of music. So he has minted one coin related to the music. Then again, the next point is he and his followers, they have conducted the many types of Ashwamedha yagnas too. Ashwamedha yagnas were conducted. So they have minted the pictures related to the Ashwamedha. So children, you can see the page number 4 related to your textbook, 8th standard textbook. There we are going to see the different types of pictures given related to the coins. So among the coins, different coins, we are finding different types of pictures. So present example I will give. Nowadays, when the government of India is going to print the coins or mint the coins, they are going to keep the picture related to the god. They are going to keep the picture related to the particular freedom fighters. So what shows? This person has some different acts, and according to that act, the person getting the knowledge related to that particular person. So we can see the many types of other coins related to different persons. So see here in your book, this Samudragupta Satakani got the name of Nahapana arranged on his coins. So he got a particular name. That name was minted on the coins. What? Napahana. The name was written on that coin and engraved his name on them. And sometimes they are going to write the name of this Gautami Putra Satakarani. So after knowing the coin, the name on that coin, we are directly getting the idea related to this coin related to the Gautami Putra Satakarani's period. Okay. Now, many types of different things we can see. Gautami Putra Satakarni had defeated the Napahana. So one picture was printed on the coin. The defeat made by the Gautami Putra toward the Napahana. And we can see the many types of coins available related to the Roman Empire also. So some Romans have visited. You can see in the Bangalore Museum, there we are going to see the coins related to the Roman Emperor. So by knowing all these things, we can get in the period of ancient time, in the period of middle time, there was the relation between India and the Roman, or there was the trade relation was there in between India and the Rome. So these points we are getting from the idea related to the coin present in the Museum of India. So this is called as coins, and which is the important evidence for the writing of history in India. So the third one is monuments. Now the third point or the third source related to the archaeological source is monuments. What? Monuments. So monuments also become a very important point or a very important evidence for the purpose of giving the idea to the historians to write the history. So what is the meaning of monuments here? Monuments are the main sources or the major sources. We are going to write the history on the basis of these monuments. So what are the monuments? You can take the example of many types of palaces we are going to see in India. Many types of different types of temples we are going to see in India. Or many types of forts. Many types of forts we are going to see in India. Or many types of different pillars. Pillars present in India. On the basis of all these palaces, temples, forts, pillars, we are going to get the idea related to the particular period. So in the same way, the historians will get the idea. These palaces were constructed in the period of particular king. It may be the palace constructed at the period of Samudragupta. It may be the palace constructed at the period of Nizam of Hyderabad. The temple may be constructed at the period of Samudragupta. The temple may be constructed at the period of Ashoka. And we can see the forts present in India. The forts which is occupied by the Shivaji. On the basis of that, we can get the idea, the history related to the Shivaji. The pillars related to the Ashoka. On the basis of the pillars or the inscriptions written on that pillar, we are finding the history related to the particular period. That is called as the monuments. So many types of examples we are going to see in India related to the monuments. So you can take the example of knowledge related to the evidences present in India. You can take Gol Gumbaz. Gol Gumbaz. So automatically, after knowing the idea related to this gumbaz, we are getting the idea. This particular gumbaz has constructed in a particular king. So you can take the example of Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal, which is present in the northern part of India. This is in the southern part of India. And this is in the northern part of India. This is constructed in the period of whom? Shah Jahan. That already we know the basic ideas. So these important places are considered as the monuments. And these monuments gives the idea to the historians to write the history of particular king. So many other things also we are going to see related to this, but these all things we are getting after the use of scientific method. Scientific methods, because already we got archaeological source, excavations. These all are made with the help of systematic study of scientific method in the history. Write the history. Okay, so you can take the example of the Elephanta, Ellora, Ajanta, the caves, and the paintings made in the different places, so that these paintings were made in this particular period, and these things are completed in the particular periods. So other example related to the in Aivole, Pattakkalu, with many types of temples we are going to see. These different temples explain the evaluation of the Indian temples or show the development of new type of architecture made by these kings in the Aivole, in the Pattakkalu. So these all things we are going to get the knowledge after knowing the monuments. So you can take the example of nearby us. Come towards the Bidar, there we are going to see one of the important places which was constructed in the period of Gavan in the Bidar. So this fort which is constructed in the period of Gavan is giving the idea related to the development of education in Bidar. He has made lot of educational development at the period of Gavan in Bidar. You can go to the Srirangapattanam. There we are going to get the new type of technology followed by the Tipu Sultan. New type of technology followed by this Srirangapattanam kings to get the development of their kingdoms. So on the basis of these monuments, we are going to find the contemporary religious system, contemporary aspects, technology, economic growth, scientific knowledge related to the particular place. So by knowing the temples, by knowing the pillars, by knowing the forts, by knowing the palaces, we can get the idea related to the particular kings. That is called as the monument.